Thank you, Mike. I was actually taking notes, so I might have to ask you for that speech. Our second speaker would like to write comedic books because laughing is good for us. He says he's often too serious, so it would be good therapy, although I don't see him as very serious. That's not a bad thing. Giving his number 8 speech from his Competent Communicator Manual with the purpose of getting comfortable with visual aids. Giving a speech titled From the Depths of the Earth. Please welcome John Armstrong.
Unless you have been living in a cave for the past few years and just recently emerged, you undoubtedly have heard in the news, particularly leading up to the presidential election, the topic of energy. It is a very hot topic. Today I'm going to focus on an energy source that we don't currently use a lot of, but does hold the potential to produce a significant portion of our energy needs. Heat from the earth, or geothermal, geo meaning earth, thermal meaning heat, is an enormous, underused heat and power resource that is clean, reliable, and homegrown. How much electricity do we generate from geothermal sources compared to other countries? If you look at this chart, you can see that Iceland is leading the way at 27.1% of their total electricity being generated from geothermal, whereas the United States, way down at the bottom, only 0.4% of our electricity is being generated by geothermal, so very low percentage. Geothermal resources range from shallow ground, hot water and springs and shallow ground, to hot water and rock several miles below the Earth's surface, and even farther down than that to the extremely hot molten rock called magma. As you can see from this chart of the world, areas in red are where there are significant deposits of geothermal energy. And you can see how it's concentrated in the western U.S., through Alaska, and even Hawaii. And you can look in Southeast Asia, it's pretty prevalent as well. Focusing in on just the United States, on this map you can see red, which indicates the more prevalent or hotter areas of geothermal are mostly in the western United States, whereas the blue and the green, which are less heat under the earth, is pretty much in the eastern half of the U.S. So it's pretty limited right now, geothermal resources, to the western part of the U.S. The heat from the earth can be used for a lot of things. For example, to generate electricity, heat buildings and houses, and also to even heat plants in a greenhouse. And also, it's been used to pipe hot water through city streets and sidewalks to melt ice. In fact, in 1892, Boise, Idaho was the first place to actually do this on a wide scale, and they had the first district heating system. Today, it's used to heat over 5 million square feet of residential, business, and governmental space. There are about 17 district heating systems throughout the U.S. What are the benefits of geothermal energy? First, it's clean. It does not use any fossil fuels, such as oil, coal, or natural gas. So it releases about 1/6 the amount of carbon dioxide that a clean gas-fueled power plant would release. In addition, it releases no nitrous oxide or sulfur-bearing gases. is available 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. In fact, geothermal plants are available about 90% of the time, compared to only about 75% for a coal plant. It's homegrown. We have it here in the U.S., which reduces our dependence on foreign oil, another big advantage. And it's a renewable resource. There's no time in the near future where the Earth's core is going to be cooling down, so the amount of heat there is pretty much unlimited, so it is a renewable resource. In fact, if you take hot water from the ground and use it, you can even pump the water back down and recycle it that way. Almost everywhere within the U.S., about 10 feet below the Earth's surface, the ground temperature is a constant 50 to 60 degrees. This temperature difference can be used to cool a house or another building in the summer or heat it in the winter. There are basically 4 types of ground systems that you can use in a house or a small building. The first one here is a horizontal closed loop system, and you have a heat exchanger right there on the side of the house, and you have pipes that run through the ground circulating water that maybe has some antifreeze solution in it, and it circles through the system, gets cooled or warm, and it goes back to the house where there's a heat exchanger, and that's how it works. Another type is the vertical loop system, and this is beneficial for large commercial buildings and schools that wouldn't have the land area needed for a horizontal system. And this system, you dig about 2 holes, 4-inch diameter holes about 20 feet apart, and the holes themselves would go down anywhere between 100 and 400 feet. And you circulate liquid through these pipes, and it would go through the system there and get cooled or heated just like a horizontal system and go to the building to the heat exchanger. Third system is called a pond lake system, and this is good for buildings that are close to large bodies of water. Again, the same system, you have pipes, a pipe that would circulate underneath the water enough so it wouldn't freeze through a large area like that, and then go back to the house through a heat exchanger and cool or heat the house. A fourth one, and this is different from the previous 3, and that it is an open loop system. You basically dig 2 wells, pump water down into one where it would be cooled or heated, and then you draw up water from another well and have it go into the house. So a little bit of different system here. Now these 4 systems are used, like I said, for houses or small buildings. What about commercial type systems? First one we have is a dry steam power plant. As you can see, this directly uses steam from the ground, which would go into a turbine and turn a generator producing electricity, and the resultant water would go back down into the lake. Another type is a flash steam power plant. In this one, the water is drawn up into a tank that has a lower pressure where it would flash to steam, and that steam would then go into the turbine and turn the generator. So the difference with this one is that it doesn't come in, well, it comes in direct contact with the turbine, but it goes through the flash tank first. Third type is a binary cycle power plant, and this one is different from the previous 2 in that it goes through a heat exchanger and does not go directly to the turbine. So you have a fluid, hence it's called binary, a secondary fluid that would go through the heat exchanger and draw the heat that would be coming up from the production well, transfer it to the turbine where it would flash to steam, turning the generator producing electricity. What's the future of global geothermal energy? Well, like I mentioned, it's only currently being used in a tiny fraction of our energy needs. But in the future, they want to try something called an enhanced geothermal system, whereby you would drill a hole into the rock. I see a red light, but I'm going to keep going because I'm going to finish. This is just too interesting. So you would drill a hole down to the earth and through the rock, and that water would circulate between the broken rocks, get heated, and you'd have another well which would draw up the heated water and hence turn a turbine to produce electricity. In addition, they're even talking about using technology to draw energy straight from the liquid hot magma. which is probably way down the road, but it, like I said, offers an unlimited amount of pretty much energy. I hope you see today why we should be moving more towards a geothermal energy because of the benefits that it produces, being clean, renewable, and reliable. Madam Toastmaster.